The second Cowboys Report of the day is also made possible by Roan. Get 20% off your order by going to roan.com/chatsports and using code chatsports. We're going to break down what I think the Cowboys starting lineup is going to be for week 1. But if you are excited about Cowboys football being back, which I think all of us are, even if it is a bit of nervous excitement, then like today's video for me right now. We'll go position by position. There's no easier spot to identify than the quarterback. That is going to be Dak Prescott. A lot of other positions, as we'll get into, there will be rotation. You'll sub guys out. They're not going to play 95, 98, 100% of the snaps outside of garbage time. That will be the case at quarterback barring injury. And we can have the playoff conversation. That's very fine. Regular season-wise, should feel pretty confident about the guy that finished second in MVP, knowing that in general, year 2 of a new offense is oftentimes better than year 1, even if the supporting cast maybe didn't get any better. Speaking of, let's go to running back. I'm going to put the old "or" designation on here like I am a paranoid college football coach. I don't really know who's going to be the starter, and there's 2 ways I see to define starter. One, first snap of the game, who's out there? Okay? Or who actually plays the majority of the snaps? Could be different answers for both of those questions. I would not be surprised to see Ezekiel Elliott get the first snap out there on offense, but over the course of the game against the Browns, if Rico Dowdle plays a little bit more, I kind of think it should be Rico. He was better last year. He was more efficient, more explosive, more dynamic, in a better situation, sure, than Ezekiel Elliott was. As best as we can to identify the individual stuff that's not just built upon offensive line play, which, frankly, the Patriots' run blocking on the offensive line was actually not that bad, and your run blocking / scheme for the Cowboys wasn't all that great. Look, I think you can make a great argument that Dowdle should get more touches. Red zone-wise, going to go to Zeke. Third down, whoever you want to pass protect, or if you want to send someone out on a route, maybe that's actually Deuce Vaughn. Regular plays, might be Rico Dowdle. Now, Lipke's going to be a fullback / tight end hybrid for this team. I feel pretty confident in saying that one. So who's the leading rusher? Type in 15 for Ezekiel Elliott, 42 for Deuce Vaughn, 23 for Rico Dowdle. Or if you want to go with the little guy in the practice squad, who I don't think is going to play week 1, it's Dalvin Cook. You can type in 20, 23, 20, 42, 15. They're numbers, the pinned comment of today's show. We'll go tight ends, then get to receivers here. Jake Ferguson is tight end 1. I don't have much to discuss. I think that we weren't talking much about him in camp is actually probably a pretty good sign for the expected impact he's going to have. Wide receiver 1, it's CeeDee Lamb. He is still, technically speaking, on the commissioner's exempt list. There's no reason to pull him off that yet because you don't have to. There's no rush to do so in case something bad happens, but he will be out there week 1. The question is, will he have more yards than what he had last year? He had awesome game, awesome season, despite sitting a bunch of fourth quarters. So over or under 1,749.5 yards for CeeDee Lamb. O for over, U for under in the comments section. Brandin Cooks, wide receiver 2, assuming he's healthy. That knee had something going on there. He was limited, then not at practice, so we'll know more as the week goes on, as we get further into the week around, say, Wednesday or Thursday. Is worth at least monitoring there. If Cooks cannot go, wide receiver 3, Jalen Tolbert, would then become wide receiver 2, which I'm probably asking too much out of Tolbert at this time. You'll see KaVontae Turpin be involved on offense. Shoot, he might be your most explosive backfield player. Should probably put Lamb back there sometimes too, by the way. Maybe some of Jalen Brooks, and I think Flournoy is due for a redshirt year unless Cooks misses time, which, again, I don't think is where we're trending. Now, today's show was made possible by Roan. The mail closet was due for a radical reinvention. Roan has delivered comfortable, breathable, and versatile products. They've got stuff for every occasion. That's pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, even blazers. Their signature 4-way stretch fabric is breathable, flexible, and leaves you free to enjoy whatever life ends up throwing your ways. That can be work, can be the commute to and from work, dinner, drinks, the golf course, whatever. Roan has you covered. The commuter collection can get you through any workday and right into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports and use promo code chatsports. Save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you go to RHONE.com/chatsports and use code chatsports. Find your corner office comfort with Roan. The link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Offensive line, pretty straightforward. We won't spend much time on it. Tyler Guyton is your week 1 starter at left tackle. Been that way for a while. Obviously, Tyler Smith is going to start at left guard. And then shout out Cooper Beebe, who in a span of like 2 weeks went from, boy, it sounds like Brock Hoffman's going to just get this job. He's looked pretty good. Beebe hasn't gotten that many chances to. Beebe got a chance to. Beebe won the job. It's good. It's a bit scary to have 2 starting rookies on the offensive line. I like both players. Zack Martin in there at right guard, obviously, and Terence Steele. Not much was said about him at training camp. Hopefully that's a good thing because he wasn't getting smoked the same way he was last year. A lot riding on Terence Steele to be better, be a better run blocker. I think that would really help your offense ground game overall. A lot riding on the offensive line. Terence Steele could be better this year. Martin and Smith should remain good. Beebe, there's a chance, maybe not week 1, but by week 10, week 15, he's better than what you got out of Tyler Biadasz. And maybe Guyton can be a better run blocker. Tyron Smith was not as dominant in that fashion as he once was. Also might have been a scheme thing. So what is your confidence level just overall in this Cowboys offensive line? Scale it for me from 1 to 10 in the comment section of today's show. Pass rusher, I am going to put Micah Parsons at defensive end. He will be moved around. Sometimes he'll be a stand-up defensive end. Sometimes hand-in-the-dirt defensive end. Sometimes lined up as like that mugged-up double-A gap inside linebacker over the center, which he did some of last year anyway. He'll move around, but he's going to play pass rush. He'll be moving forward more than he's moving backwards. Tank Lawrence, defensive end number 2. This is a great spot to mention, and we'll do it with DTs as well. There will be a rotation. You will see plenty of Marshawn Nealon. You will see plenty of Chauncey Golston. You might not see that much of Tyler Sweet on defense, probably some on special teams, however. It will be a committee. You will not have Tank Lawrence playing 80% of the snaps. You're not going to have Micah probably play every single snap. And there will be plenty of times you put Micah and Tank and a third different pass rusher out there. No debate as to who your number 1 defensive tackle is. That's Osa Odighizuwa. He'll get the majority of his reps at that 3 technique spot, that more pass rushing focused defensive tackle. The second defensive tackle, I'll put Mazi Smith on there, but I think it's going to be a heavy committee. In fact, from a snap count perspective, I wouldn't be that shocked if Mazi Smith, Jourdan Phillips, and assuming Linval Joseph is good to go, if they all play pretty similar snap counts. Phillips is going to be the backup to Osa, but he'll be out there alongside Osa. He can do one technique stuff. He's big enough to do it. Linval Joseph is a pure nose guard, but he might need some time to get up to speed, given that he wasn't out there at all, period, for Cowboys training camp. And Mazi was a pretty big disappointment in year 1. It's going to be a rotation there, much like it will be at running back, although maybe a more clear-cut number 1 at DT. The Cowboys will eventually release their official depth chart. We will break that down. Might be 1 or 2 interesting tidbits to glean from it. For all the Cowboys news and rumors you could want, including watch parties on Sundays or Thursdays or Mondays, hit that sub button right now. Linebacker, again, this is going to be a somewhat less than DT and D, but it'll be a rotation. Eric Kendricks will be your middle linebacker. I'll list him as linebacker 1 and kind of go more from what I think the snap counts are going to be. DeMarvion Overshown, he says he's playing the weak side linebacker, the will. That would make him linebacker 2. But there will be more 3 linebacker looks. And sometimes it's not going to be the middle linebacker, strong side linebacker, weak side linebacker. Those lines blur in the modern day NFL, as they should. I'll put Damone Clark in there at linebacker 3, but that doesn't mean we're not going to see Maurice Leofau. I think we'll see all 4 guys play in week 1. Overshown and Clark are coming off more minor injuries. We'll know more about their true statuses again later in the week, but I think that's something to monitor. I think you could have a situation where maybe those guys are on a bit of a pitch count, potentially. I think it seems like Clark was further behind, given the fact that Overshown has been out there at practices. And they like Leofau. So you'll see all those guys play. Trevon Diggs, obviously cornerback 1 for Dallas. There's no debate about that one. He is good to go. Cornerback 2 for week 1 will be Caelen Carson, the 5th-round rookie out of Wake Forest. He's going to get the starting nod. The reason being DaRon Bland is on injured reserve. He will miss at least the first 4 weeks of the season. Cowboys have made it sound like it's on the lesser end of that initial 6 to 8 week time frame, which would be about 4 weeks then from the full game and then the preseason or bye week basically. But he's going to miss time. Maybe we see him, I think, as soon as week 5, but maybe not so after the bye, after week 7. That stress fracture in his foot. Jourdan Lewis, the clear-cut nickel corner. He's actually, I think, a good fit for what Mike Zimmer likes on defense. I'm excited about Lewis this year. He should be even better another year removed from that gruesome foot injury. By the way, Bland's not nearly as bad, thank God. Safety-wise, the 2 guys that didn't play in the preseason are going to start. You might see some of Marquise Bell. Get them in a little bit. But Malik Hooker is your free safety. Donovan Wilson will be your strong safety. I think you will see times where guys like Donovan Wilson, guys like Marquise Bell even, get rotated down and are put at linebacker lined up over the center. Some double-A gap blitzes you can have a lot of fun with there with guys like Bell and Donovan Wilson. Excited to see what Mike Zimmer does in the back end. Wanye Thomas battling a groin injury, by the way. His status, I think, a little bit murky for week 1. So of the 2 sides of the ball, which one do you think Dallas is better at right now? O for offense, D for defense. Let me know in the comments of today's video. The projected starting line, let's go to special teams. These matter too. Brandon Aubrey is your kicker. Bryan is your punter. Long snappers, Trent Sieg. Your number 1 return man is going to be KaVontae Turpin. And I'm very curious about your number 2 return man. Could be Deuce Vaughn or Rico Dowdle. Dowdle, if he's taking a big workload in the backfield, probably don't want him back there on returns, but the different rules might give you some leeway there. Deuce Vaughn, then, could be your next man up, given that he's been in that number 2 role at times previously. But if Dowdle's RB1, he might not be kick returner 2 as well.